1,000 new cases in a single day, the highest since January before COVID vaccines were widely available. In New York, nearly 1 in 5 people testing positive. ABC's Morgan Norwood.
We won't really grasp the depth of the winter surge until after the New Year holiday. Concerning news for healthcare systems already struggling to keep up.
We have no beds. We're holding patients in the ER for multiple hours, if not days.
And with New Year's Eve celebrations potentially fueling an additional spike heading into the new year, officials warning about large gathering.
The record coming just a day after the CDC shortened the recommended isolation time for asymptomatic COVID patients from 10 days to 5.
Dr. Jerome Adams, the former U.S. Surgeon General under President Trump, criticizing the CDC's decision to omit the recommendation for those individuals to take a COVID test prior to ending isolation, tweeting, quote, "This isn't about the best science. It's a compromise to keep the economy open in the face of inadequate tests."
Dr. Anthony Fauci denied that a lack of tests played a role in the new CDC guidelines.
ABC's M. Wynn. John Madden's being remembered for the larger-than-life character that he was. A 10-year coaching career and a Super Bowl title with the Raiders, followed by a 30-year broadcasting career. Fellow sports broadcaster Bob Costas.
He was a genuine character. People related to him. He was simultaneously an everyman and yet totally unique.
John Madden passed away unexpectedly yesterday. He was 85 years old. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has died after a battle with pancreatic cancer. The Democrat who represented Nevada for over 3 decades being remembered as a skilled dealmaker. He was 82. Homicide record shattered in the city of brotherly love. A shooting at a cell phone store killed 1 person last night, pushing Philadelphia to an all-time high of 554 homicides in a single year. You're listening to ABC News.
With the stock market at all-time highs, cash in your profits now and invest in an asset that can potentially pay for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-defined accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. Call now to learn how you can potentially achieve 20 or more years of income and deduct 100% of every dollar invested against all forms of income. Call 1-800-278-7455. Invest in your future and buy oil. Encore is drilling in an area that is potentially one of the most prolific horizontal oil plays in the entire country. Oil prices are projected to rise, so you need to own a piece of an oil field. Encore Energy is the most active oil and gas operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 1-800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 1-800-278-7455. Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
A pro-democracy news outlet is shut down in Hong Kong. ABC's Britt Clinette is there.
Hong Kong's National Security Police arrested 6 people linked to Stand News, an independent online media outlet, in another sign that the city's once thriving press freedom is taking a turn for the worse. Police also froze $7.8 million worth of assets and raided the outlet's headquarters, where they seized what they called subversive articles. Stand News announced after the raid that it would close, saying staff would no longer speak to the media.
Another pro-democracy paper, Apple Daily, was forced to shut down 6 months ago. Dallas area police say there's not enough evidence, so they've released a 14-year-old male suspected in the fatal shooting of 3 other teens at a convenience store last weekend. The alleged getaway driver has surrendered and faces murder charges. A warning today about Amazon's digital assistant. Details from ABC's Megan Tiverizian.
Kristen Livedall claims Alexa encouraged her 10-year-old daughter to try a potentially deadly challenge seen on TikTok.
Had been doing some YouTube challenges where it was a physical education teacher had made.
But the smart speaker gave an unexpected and frightening answer.
Plug a phone charger partway in and then touch the exposed palms with a penny.
Amazon telling ABC News, as soon as we became aware of this error, we took swift action to fix it.
This is ABC News.
Now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that the widely used non-contact thermometers are not accurate and have high probabilities for false negative readings. New COVID strands are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Don't wait. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the list.
Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. For the day ahead, we'll see the cloud cover slowly increase. It'll be another warm and breezy day with highs today in the mid to upper 70s. Stray showers pop up this evening, and those showers will continue to increase in coverage overnight tonight. Could hear some rumbles of thunder for Thursday morning. Thursday through the day, we'll see stray showers still in the forecast with highs in the low to mid 70s. Some of those rain showers move out Thursday night. We're drier on Friday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Light rain falling here in the foothills. We're expecting rain off and on for the next few days, as a matter of fact. Right now it's 65 degrees and warming up to about 71 before it's all over with. And we have rain in the forecast today, tonight, tomorrow night, Friday night, and even Saturday. Rain showers expected Saturday night, and even Sunday morning there's a chance of rain. Clearing out of here, though, by Sunday night, and Monday and Tuesday next week, mostly sunny skies. Clear, crazy weather as we start into the brand new 2022. Glad to have you on board with us this Hump Day Wednesday morning. Thanks for waking up with us here at WCAB. 6 minutes after 7, we'll have the call around news roundup in just a few moments. Right now, though, I have these death announcements. John Philip Phil J., age 70, of Forest City, died Sunday, December 26 at White Oak Manor of Spartanburg. The graveside service will be at Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery on Chase High Road, Forest City, at 11 o'clock Thursday, December 30th. Burial will be at Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery, with military honors provided by the Rutherford County Honor Guard. McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for John Philip Phil J. Geneva Ashley Wilson, 88, of Forest City, died Friday, December 24th. The funeral will be conducted at 2 o'clock today at First Baptist Church of Bostic. Burial will follow in the church cemetery. The visitation will be from 12 until 1:45 today at the church prior to the service. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for Geneva Ashley Wilson. Lawrence A. Brown, Larry Brown, age 70, of Forest City, passed away December 17th at Adrium Health Cabarrus. A memorial will be held at Immaculate Conception Roman Catholic Church at 12 noon Saturday, January the 8th. And the family will continue to celebrate the life of Larry with a second service in the chapel of the Paget and King Mortuary at 1:30 on Saturday, January the 8th. The family will receive friends following the service at the mortuary. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of the arrangements for Larry Brown. Mabel Ruth Spangenberg Sestrape, 96, died at home on December 24th. A memorial service will be held at 2 o'clock Saturday, January the 8th at Fairfield Mountains Chapel, Buffalo Creek Road, Lake Lure. For Mabel Ruth Spangenberg Sestrape. Joseph Joe Condry, age 75, of Rutherfordton, passed away Saturday, December 25th at Accordius Health in Rutherfordton. The family will receive friends from 1:45 until 2:45 today at McMahon's Funeral Home. The funeral service will be at McMahon's Funeral Home Chapel at 3 o'clock today. The family has requested that masks be worn at all services. Burial will be at Shiloh Baptist Church Cemetery with military honors provided by the Rutherford County Honor Guard. McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for Joseph Joe Condry. Angela Davis, age 58, of Forest City, passed away Tuesday. A private graveside service will be held, and those arrangements are pending. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Angela Davis. Candace Denise Stevens, 59, of Rutherfordton, passed away Monday, December 27th at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. A family-led celebration of life will be held 2 p.m. Friday, December 31st at Restoration Church, Garden Brook Drive, Forest City. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Candace Denise Stevens. The Bill O'Reilly Morning Update is coming up next here on WCAB Rutherfordton.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater in San Diego, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, a word.
Investors, are you sitting on capital or wanting to diversify? The NRIA Real Estate Development Fund provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer steady monthly payouts plus double-digit annualized returns. Start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater in San Diego, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. On this Wednesday morning, I am thinking about going outside, letting the kids play, using their imagination. I came across this poem from Lewis Robert Stevenson, late 1800s. Happy hearts and happy faces, happy play in grassy places. That was how in ancient ages children grew to kings and sages. Now, not to make everything about COVID, but today the rhyme for kids would be muzzle them up and lock them down. They're resilient, says the clown. You can't even see kids' happy faces these days. Got to cover them up. It's too dangerous for them to breathe. But even the playing outside part. So a suggestion, perhaps this New Year's, is to be more of a free-range parent and grandparent. Let your kids play and fall and adventure and get lost. Maybe the rule when you were a kid was the same as when I was growing up, come home before the streetlights come on. Whatever happened to that? Now we never let our kids out of our sight. But you think back on the happiest times of your childhood, I guarantee you your parents weren't hovering over you, making sure you're okay every single second of it. Let the kids go. Be free. If we can't let them be free when they're outside, then kids are more likely to stay imprisoned on their devices inside. Happy hearts and happy faces, happy play in grassy places. This was how in ancient ages children grew to kings and sages. More coming up.
Folks, consumer prices are the highest we've seen in 30 years. Inflation's definitely here. So how do we protect our money? By diversifying a portion of your portfolio with American Hartford Gold. They will deliver physical gold and silver right to your door, or they'll put it inside your 401k. So please give them a call now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you for up to $1,500 of free silver on your first order. Call 877-444-GOLD Gold or text GOLD to 65532.
MikeSlater.locals.com. This has been the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition.
Pass it on. Now's the time to stay apart. Social distancing. But I'm adding something else. Pull together. What's pulling together while we're staying apart? It's calling family to check in on them. It's waving to your neighbor. It's the things we should have been doing all along. And when this tragedy passes and we're able to come together, we'll be stronger than ever. Because we've already pulled together. Stay apart. Pull together. Pass it on. From PassItOn.com.
Superstar Music's on us. WCAB.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Anyone old enough to have gray hair or interested in classic automobiles is familiar with Studebaker cars and trucks. The Studebaker started making transportation vehicles back in 1852. Here's the story. The Studebaker family was known for being great blacksmiths. Looking to take advantage of the westward movement, brothers Henry, Clem, and John started the H&C Studebaker Company to make their version of a Conestoga wagon. They started with $68 in capital. After a year, they had sold 2 wagons. Realizing they needed more capital, Brother John agreed to go to California to get some capital in the gold fields. When he got to Placerville, he realized he could generate more money by making wheelbarrows for the gold miners than mining gold. In a couple of years, he had saved $8,000. On his way home, John picked up a copy of the great promoter P.T. Barnum's book, The Art of Money Making. When John got back to Indiana, he was totally excited with the possibilities of making a fortune. By December 31, 1860, the Studebaker brothers, John and Clem, Henry decided to become a farmer, had 14 employees, and a successful business. During the Civil War, the Studebakers made supply wagons and ambulances for the Union Army. The brothers were so busy, they grew beards to save time normally used for shaving. It became an annual ritual to tally the books at the end of each year. Following the Civil War, on January 31, 1867, John tallied the assets. That year, they had profits of $223,269. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Jesse James Railroad Express has added 2 new sandwiches to their menu. Try the all-new crispy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, or the crispy deluxe with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, and cheese. And now, the new beer-battered fish sandwich. All come with sides. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. Call 828-447-4644. Mondays only, hot dog with mustard, chili, and onions for only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
And they are closed on Wednesdays there at Jesse James, but to get that good food tomorrow. Now let's go to the phone, 716. This Hump Day Wednesday morning, Deputy Butron is on the phone to give us an update from the Sheriff's Department. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing?
Doing great, thanks. Tell us what's been going on.
In the past 24 hours, Sheriff's Office has responded to 178 calls for service. There's currently 166 inmates in the jail. The jail has processed 9 arrests. For incident reports, Corey Wetterly reported larceny of a firearm. A Glock 23 was stolen in that incident. John Kirkland reported a larceny of a firearm. That was a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 rifle. Bobby Craig also reported a larceny of a firearm, and that was a Springfield XDS 45 caliber. Derek Burns reported obtained property of false pretense. Roy Long reported a financial card fraud. For arrest reports, Samantha Gail Bradley was served with an order for arrest for a failure to prevent a misdemeanor. Joseph Lee Pye was charged with possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and also had 2 OFAs for failure to appear on misdemeanors. Christy Preston was served with a warrant for communicating threats. Hannah Elaine Harris was served with an order for arrest for a failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Ronnie Dean Hawkins was served with 3 orders for arrest for failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Matthew Tyler Langley was served with a warrant for resist a public officer, possession of drug paraphernalia, and damage to real property. Heather Michelle Goforth was served with 2 orders for arrest for failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Christy Peacock was served with an order for arrest for failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Cameron Alexander Elliott was served with 3 orders for arrest for failure to appear on felonies. Amber Leanne Rich was served a warrant for assault and battery. And Sharon Nicole Davis was served with a show cause for failure to pay fines. And that's all we've got.
Deputy Butron, thank you very much for that report, and you be safe out there today.
Thanks, sir.
19 minutes after 7 o'clock, 911. Report next.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
911 is our next stop. We'll find out what's been happening. And Roman is with us this morning to give that news. Good morning, Roman.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. What's on the report?
Okay, in the past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 405 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 74 emergency medical service calls, 178 for Sheriff's Office, 61 for Far City, 30 for Rutherford, 6 for Lake Lure, 34 for Spindale. Cherry Mountain had a motor vehicle crash. Far City Fire had a gas leak. Hadlow had a motor vehicle crash. And Union Mills had an illegal burn, and that's all we have.
Thanks, Roman. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. As 911 reporting in. Well, investigators are still looking into that double homicide at a secluded residence off of Morning Star Lake Road, and where the alleged suspect dismembered and or destroyed the bodies of the victims. The Rutherford County Sheriff's Office, along with the State Bureau of Investigation and the Medical Examiner's Office, worked late into the night on Monday night after first receiving a call about 2 possible deaths at 482 Morning Star Lake Road. Through the course of the investigation and property search, authorities charged Matthew Cooley, 34, with 2 counts of homicide and 2 counts of dismembering, destroying the bodies of Jason Dean Van Dyke, 44, and Tracy Renee McKinney, 42, of Ellenboro. Sheriff Chris Francis reported to us yesterday morning on this report that investigators have found the partial remains of both victims at the residence. An autopsy is scheduled for Thursday. The cause of death, however, may take several weeks, according to investigators. Cooley and Van Dyke, formerly of Golden Valley, were both living at the residence. More will come forth on that as the investigation continues. Here is Ruby Taylor reporting from Danieltown, SDO Fire District. Ruby, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
Well, the fire department didn't have any calls, and on my birthday calendar, I've got Patrick Parton having birthday, Miss Ms. Russell Lane having anniversary, and hope these people have a nice day. Signs are in the secret today and going to the thighs tomorrow, and that's all I've got.
I'll see you, Ruby. Bye.
Bye.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
22 past the hour of 7. Light rainfall and cloudy conditions will be with us for the next few days. Here's Gary Wilson now reporting in to us from Fairfield Mountains Fire District and also overlooking things at Bills Creek community. Gary, good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, Jim. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Ready for this rainfall, I guess?
I guess I'm going to let you use a little bit. Dampen them leaves down some. And I know it'll rain a few days now. Temperature jumped to summertime on us, hasn't it?
Sure has, I tell you. I'm 65 reading here. What's yours?
About 63.
Yeah.
About 63 this morning, so. Got up in the 70s yesterday. Going to do the same thing again today. Don't look like any cold weather in sight till about maybe Sunday night, Monday morning, somewhere along in there. Might get back to a little more like normal then. But we'll take it while we got it. We've been quiet overnight. No fire calls or anything in the area, so that's a good thing. Hope everybody will enjoy their holiday and got the New Year coming up and be safe doing it. And stay off the roads if you've been drinking. We don't need any accidents because of that.
Good advice.
And that's about all we got up here, Jim.
Gary, thank you very much. You be safe up there, and I'll see you next time.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye. Gary Wilson reporting in this morning. Well, there's been an Amber Alert, and I give you these, although they may be somewhere else. You never know when they're passing through or stopping off at one of our gas stations or restaurants. An Amber Alert authorities say a mother and child may have been taken against their will. Now, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing these names right, but let me give you the particulars and be on the lookout. Officials issued an Amber Alert for a 6-year-old from Cummings, Georgia, who may have been taken with her mother against their will. According to authorities, Rachel Sakina and her mother, Balvanera Esperanza Parada Olivia, 45, were believed to have been taken by Sakina's father, Alexis Sakina Lopez, who is 55. Rachel and Balvinera are both Hispanic. Balvanera, it is, I guess, weighs 150 pounds, stands 5'2", has black hair and brown eyes. Police say Zakina Lopez may be armed. They may be traveling in Balvanera's black 2016 Ford Focus with Georgia tags, R as in Robert, V as in Victor, X as in X, 9470. The mother and child were last seen Sunday 5 p.m. to 6 o'clock in Cummings. And they're asking everybody everywhere to be on the lookout during this Amber Alert to get this mother and her daughter back safely. Here's DeVern from Boston, North Carolina, with our report today. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm feeling mighty chirpy. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
It's a little warm over here in Boston this morning, about 64 degrees. I think we're going to have a warm day.
Yes.
The fire department had one medical call they responded to. They had their Christmas dinner last night, and some awards were given out. The most fire calls went to Michael Harton. The most training hours went to Hunter Kennedy. The Tommy Melton Memorial Award went to Timmy Moore. The Robbie Martin Memorial went to David Green. And Fireman of the Year went to Hunter Kennedy. And Hunter is my grandson.
Oh, really? Well, congratulations to him. I know you're proud of him.
Yeah, he's 18.
Well, good for him.
Yes. And go by Washburn store today and get you one of their good sandwiches. And I had a comment a while ago on our Bostic area coming through the town, our Christmas lights.
Oh, yeah?
They were bragging how pretty they were. And I told them we'd do better next year.
Well, how long will they leave them up? Will they leave them up through New Year's, I guess?
Yes, yes.
Well, good. Maybe folks get a chance to get over by there.
Yeah, come by and see them. And everybody be safe today. They said we might get some storms later.
Yeah, that's right.
So everybody be safe and have a good day.
Thanks, DeVern. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Now at 28 past 7 and 65 degrees here in Rutherfordton at WCAB land. Beautiful downtown Whiteside Road. We're going up to the Hudlow Fire District now and talk with Bob Hodge. Good morning, Bob.
Well, good hump day morning.
Yep, this is the last Wednesday we're going to have this year.
That's right, the last Wednesday there, but looks like we're going to have a wet Wednesday there. So
yes, I believe we are.
Yeah, next day and the night there anyway. So, but we need the rain. It's been a little dry up this way. And we need some cooler weather. If it don't get cooler weather, I'm going to have to start mowing grass again. My grass is turning green up here. So.
Yeah. Flowers will start popping out, won't they?
Yeah, well, there's some already are. Them March flowers and stuff. A few of them done popped out of the ground. So we're going to have to get cooler weather or they're going to get bit, ain't they?
That's right.
But, Jim, things going along good up here with the fire department. We hadn't had any calls overnight, so that's good. And so far this morning, everything's quiet. And maybe we'll have a quiet day up here. And I hope you have a good day now over there.
Thanks, Bob. I hope you do, too. And I will check back in to check on you tomorrow morning.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale. Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Now, Cherry Mountain Fire District is our next stop, and that's where we'll find Sue Price. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jim. I'm doing okay. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Looking out the window here and see the rainfall.
Well, looks like we're going to have a rainy day, but that's okay. We've had some pretty weather. Well, let's see. The fire department had one direct call. I have one birthday on my church calendar for Sylvia Sheehan, so I hope Sylvia have a good day. On my personal calendar, I've got an anniversary for Bert and Eva Sigmund. That's my daughter and her husband, so I hope they'll have a good day today. And nothing on Fairviews for today. First Brother's got a birthday for Addie Lavender, so we hope she'll have a good day. And so far, I don't have any announcements. It's just quiet and calm over this way, looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one, Jim.
I hope you have one too, Sue, and we'll check in on you tomorrow morning.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you, so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled A-R-Y-E-E. Let's see what's been happening up in the Shingle-Hada Fire District and also the Green Hill Fire District. And Tina is there to give us that news. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. Both fire departments were off quiet, and it is 63 degrees on the front porch. And the sky is amazing this morning. It's different. The clouds and the sun, and I shouldn't say the sun, the light through the clouds. It's just beautiful. Wish you could see out there, Jim.
Yeah, I do too. Did you happen to see that sunrise Christmas morning?
Yeah.
Wasn't that something?
It was so beautiful.
Oh, boy.
Christmas Day was just perfect to me.
Yes, it was. Beautiful.
Well, there's no announcements that I know of here in this area, but we do have birthdays today. On Pleasant Grove's calendar, we have a birthday for Mark Pobance and Kaylee Whiteside. On Pilgrim Ways Baptist Church calendar, there is Dylan Turner. So there's 3 birthdays up in this area today. I hope everyone has that all 3 have a special birthday, a good birthday, and hope everybody else stays safe today and be aware of the storms that's coming. That's all I've got this morning.
All right, Tina, thank you very much. You enjoy your Wednesday, and we'll get back together on Thursday morning right about the same time.
Okay. Stay safe, and God bless you.
See you then. Bye. 7:35, and we circle the county. We have a couple of more stops to make, and then we'll check on birthdays and anniversaries coming up. Right now, though, let's go across the street.
Hey, folks, Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse-quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherfordton.
Are we going up to Union Mills now to get the report from Brenda Kelly? See what's happening up that way. And she and Todd are carrying on a long conversation out there, I believe. Now then, I see that they've cut that conversation shorter. And I can go up now and talk with Brenda Kelly. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning. How are you on this wonderful Wednesday morning?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, and the sky is pretty. I have to agree with Tina.
We've had some beautiful sunrises and sunsets here lately.
Oh, yeah, we have. I was noticing them. They've just been beautiful. I hope we don't get real bad storms, but we're supposed to have some, aren't we? Some kind of storms?
We may have some stormy weather. It looks like maybe by this afternoon, possibly, and then it's some more tomorrow. But scattered thunderstorms is what they're calling it.
Yeah, well, sometimes them storms can get bad when it's been as warm as it has.
Yes. Did you see that sunrise Christmas morning?
I did, and it was beautiful.
Wasn't that something?
Yes, it was. It was just, I'm like you, there's been a lot of pretty sunrises and sunsets here lately. Sky just be all pretty colors, ain't it?
Sure has. That one Christmas morning, almost like announcing a newborn child born.
Yeah. Well, it was announcing the birth of Jesus.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go. But we hope everybody's having a good day. I've got 60 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays or any anniversaries, but in ways of announcements. Friday, December the 31st, ring in the new year with Union Mills Learning Center starting at 5 p.m. Food available. $5 for the meal. Various bands beginning at 6 p.m. and going until. And there's no admission, but they do have a tip jar available for the band. That's all the announcements I have. And if you're going to get anything done this year, you better get on it because it's about gone.
Better hustle. That's right.
That's right.
Wrap itself down. I'm kind of glad 21's going to be behind us here pretty soon.
I know 20 and 21 both were just bad years, weren't they?
Yeah, well, they've had a lot of terrible things.
Yeah, it's just awful. But we hope everybody will have a safe new year. And like Gary said from up there at Lake Lure, don't drink and drive.
That's exactly right.
No, don't do that. If you can't call somebody, just stay where you at.
Don't drink and drive, and don't do drugs and drive.
Oh, that's exactly right. Oh, drugs just took over our nation.
It has.
It's awful.
All over the country.
Yeah, everywhere. Everywhere. It's just, I don't understand it.
We're letting a lot of it in across the border, free of charge. Come on in, down to the border of of Texas there.
Yeah. Well, even down on the coast of North Carolina and South Carolina, they bring it in.
Yep, anywhere there's a coastline.
Yeah, that's right. They just, it's awful. It's just terrible, but I don't know.
This mean you get us up a military group and go down there and stop some of that.
You think we could?
I believe so.
Okay.
You can be in charge.
Do I get to recruit who goes?
Sure, you can do that too.
I don't know about that.
Listen, I hope you have a wonderful day up there and enjoy the day.
You too. And we'll talk to you later.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Brendan County reporting in this morning.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. When we work together, we focus what's important to you. We create a personalized strategy backed by our advice, our tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we partner together to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me at any time at 828-287-9197. We'll sit down, talk, and we're going to make a strategy that's right for you.
Now, Luther Gilligan is up next. He's over in Ellenboro, keeping his eye on things to report to us. Good morning.
Good morning, you two. It's a nice day down here this morning.
Well, I'm glad you're up and at 'em already.
Hey, rain to go. Get out and get with it. Go out and brighten up the world. But it's quiet this morning. Not a whole lot going on. Everybody just trying to get their gas and move on out and get back to work again today. But traffic's not picked up too bad yet. But let's see, fire department, they had 3 medical calls yesterday and last night. They had one of them about 5 o'clock this morning. Other than that, things are quiet there and not a whole lot happening. So you have a great day up there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Luther. Keep your eye on things for us, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care now.
Bye. And that wraps the county's news up this morning with our illustrious team that tells us what's going on around the fire districts around the county. And we have room for a couple of more fire districts. I'd love to get Sandy Mush and Cliffside on this report, and maybe some others. So if you know anybody in those departments, talk to them and see if they'll do us a report from your community. Time now for birthdays and anniversaries for this 29th day of December. December the 29th. Call it in to us now, and we'll celebrate. 287-3356. All that straight ahead. Birthdays and anniversaries.
Cheryl, have you been to the Homeworks Design Center inside Henson Building Materials in Forest City?
Oh, yes. Shana, David, and William are incredible at designing kitchen and bath cabinetry for my new she shed.
Your what?
And they have a full line of windows and doors on display in their 5,000 square foot showroom. And they'll install any ones you pick out for me.
Oh, you're too good to me.
I know. With selling and installing, it's basically one-stop shopping.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. Granny B is now in Spindale serving breakfast from 7 to 11 Tuesday through Saturdays. If you really want a good breakfast like Granny B can do it, you need to go by there this morning and have a breakfast. And keep in mind also, they do pizzas. Those delicious super-duper pizzas are good anytime. So get your choice of the toppings that you like, and get your choice of the toppings you want on your subs, and get your choice of the kind of delicious daylight donut you want to take back to the office with you this morning. It's all good, all delicious, and they'll take care of you at Granny B's in Spindale.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday wishes going out to Amanda Short over in Forest City. Amanda's 43 today. Russell and Annette Lane over in Bostic celebrating an anniversary. Tommy Harden's having a birthday, number 71. Congratulations, Tommy. And Mike Tessiner of Ellenboro is also celebrating a birthday today. Other birthdays include Charles Goodyear. He made vulcanized rubber famous. He was born in 1800, died in 1860. 1808, Andrew Johnson President of the United States was born. He died in 1878. 1936, Mary Tyler Moore was born. She died in 2017. 1938, John Boyd is also a great actor, was born. 1947, Ted Danson, who's an actor, he was born in that year. Some of the big events on this date: 1845, Texas admitted as the 28th state of the Union. And they've been bragging about it ever since. 1848, gas lights first installed at the White House. 1862, bowling ball was invented. 1890, U.S. 7th Cavalry massacred 2,004 Indians at Wounded Knee Massacre it was called. Today is TikTok Day. Get all your stuff in 2021 done before the year runs out. TikTok Day. National Pepper Pot, the celebration of pepper pot soup. Never heard of it, but congratulations to all these folks. Now you're up to date on this date in history right here on WCAB. Tuesday Confident Living coming up next.
La Fontaine gives us the delightful fable of the acorn and the pumpkin. One day a man was walking through the woods praying and meditating on the goodness of God. He looked up and noticed a great big oak tree with a tiny acorn hanging from one of its branches. Then he looked down and saw a great big pumpkin growing at the end of a tiny little stem. In his mind, he protested the work of the Creator. He would have put the large pumpkin on the big tree and the little acorn on the tiny stem. Then the man decided to take a rest, so he lay down underneath the oak tree and fell asleep. Now, as fate would have it, a tiny acorn fell off the tree and hit the man in the nose, waking him up and causing him to cry out in pain. Then he realized it. Suppose things were the way I wanted them. Suppose the pumpkin was up there in the tree instead of the acorn. I would probably be dead. And they say that the man walked away with a greater faith in God, saying to himself, whatever God does well. There are times in our lives when things are not going the way we would like them to go. We cry out, it's all wrong, it's stupid, it shouldn't be happening this way. At times like these, we need to remember that whatever God does well. This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living. Scripts for today's Key to Confident Living are now available in book form by calling toll-free 1-888-333-KEYS.
The music's on us.
test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
It's that time again, time to get the flu vaccines. And Smith's Drugs in Forest City has the flu vaccinations available. Walk-ins Monday through Friday and Saturdays by appointment. And Smith's Drug is asking all their Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers to call if you need any help with registering your recalled devices. Just call the Home Medical Department for any help or with questions at 828-245-4591. And Smith's Drugs has the Moderna and Pfizer initial shots and the boosters. They also have the flu vaccines at Smith's Drugs of Forest City.
Well, yesterday morning, this is the news from here and there, by the way. Yesterday morning, Sheriff Chris Francis gave us the story of the double slaying over on Morningstar Lake Road. We have more information this morning, compliments from the Daily Courier and also News 13. Investigators are probing that double homicide at a secluded residence and where the alleged suspect dismembered and or destroyed the bodies of the victims. The Rutherford County Sheriff's Office, along with the State Bureau of Investigation and the Medical Examiner's Office, worked late into night Monday after first receiving a call about two possible deaths at 482 Morningstar Lake Road. Through the course of the investigation and property search, authorities charged Matthew Cooley, 34, with 2 counts of homicide and 2 counts of dismembering, destroying the bodies of Jason Dean Van Dyke, 44, and Tracy Renee McKinney, 42, of Ellenboro. According to Sheriff Chris Francis, investigators have found the partial remains of both victims at the residence. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow. The cause of death, however, may take several weeks, according to investigators. Cooley and Van Dyke, formerly of Golden Valley, were both living at the residence. A family member reported McKinney missing Sunday afternoon as she had not been seen or heard from since December 22nd. It was reported that she might be at Morningstar Lake Road residence. Francis said McKinney was known to frequent the residence. Noting the investigation remains in its early stages and ongoing, the sheriff declined to suggest a possible motive or how the partial remains were found. Cooley, formerly of Mooresboro, is being held without bond. He's also facing charges of failing to report and concealing a death. Cooley had a number of failure to appear charges related to possession of methamphetamine, drug paraphernalia, and driving while license revoked. Serious things happened there. Sheriff's Department, along with the State Bureau of Investigation, are on top of it investigating that. We'll have more as it develops for us. Meanwhile, an Amber Alert has been issued. Authorities say a mother and a child may have been taken against their will out of Savannah, Georgia. Who knows where they may be headed? Maybe this way. We don't know. But officials issued an Amber Alert for a 6-year-old from Cummings, Georgia, who may have been taken with her mother against their will. According to the report, police say Zakina Lopez may be armed. They think he's the one who took them. They may be traveling in Balvanera's black 2016 Ford Focus with Georgia tags, R as in Roy, V as in Victor, X as in X9470. The mother and child were last seen Sunday, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. in Cumming. Police ask anyone with information to call the 911 or Cummings Police Department. Call your local officials and they'll help get that information out. You never know when they might show up in this area, or rest stop or fast food place to get some food. But anyway, it'd be good to help find it. According to authorities, Rachel Zazina and her mother, Balvanera Esperanza Paranda Olivas, 45, are believed to have been taken by Sakina's father. They're all Hispanic. Balvanera weighs 150 pounds, stands 5'2", and has black hair and brown eyes. A lot of unrest out there, folks. A lot of unrest. A lot of folks fighting among themselves and within themselves with some dark demons that causes them to do things they would not normally do. 12 minutes after 8 o'clock. More coming up here after this.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates. We know that due to COVID, many people don't want to come in the office. If you need to discuss your insurance needs or just make a payment, you can come through the drive-thru, telephone us, or drop in. We want to see you, but it doesn't have to be across from a desk. Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City.
Saving money is easy when you shop at Jay's Discount Grocery. From snack foods to vegetables, fresh fruits to fresh cut meats, paper products, cleaning supplies, dog food, and so much more. You know, you just never know what you'll find at Jay's. So shop and save today. They're located at 671 Oak Street in Forest City, right beside the Hospice Resale Store. You know, when you shop at Jay's, you always walk out with money left over in your pocket.
The Henderson County Sheriff Lowell Griffin has confirmed to News 13 that the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation has now taken over the investigation into how 3-year-old Ailey Gordon of Edneyville accidentally got hold of a gun and shot herself on Christmas Day. Officials told News 13 the incident happened at her family's home on Spicer Cove Road Saturday. The little girl remains in critical condition in Mission Hospital after neurosurgery. Sheriff Griffin also confirmed the child's father is retired Henderson County Sheriff's Captain Tim Gordon. Robin Castro, who lives next to Tim and Anna Gordon, says it's time to just pray for Ellie. As Anya has stated, they need a miracle. Sheriff Griffin confirmed the gun the little girl accidentally fired wasn't a Henderson County service weapon. Gordon, he said, retired from the sheriff's office in 2016. The sheriff said the SBI would have to release any additional information on who owned the gun and the circumstances of the accident. Danny Costo said of 3-year-old Ali, she's just the sweetest little thing. She loves the horses. Costo and his wife Robin have a farm and live across from the Gordon family. We were going to the grandkids to see them for Christmas and went to feed the horses, and I saw there were police tape and sheriff's cruisers there. Nobody knows what happened, said Robin Costo, except for them and the police. The police are doing their investigation. This family is too good of a family to be spreading rumors and jumping to conclusions, so why not let the investigators do their work and get this thing solved altogether? Isn't it terrible how people just jump to conclusions, go to Facebook and Twitter and start saying things they don't really know? But get the facts, folks, before you make your judgment calls. Well, even as questions surrounding gender identity and biological sex have swirled in the U.S. since in recent years, most Americans still hold to the belief that there are only 2 genders. The large majority of Americans, 75% to be exact, still agree that there are only 2 genders, male and female, with 63% strongly agreeing, according to the results of new Rasmussen report survey released on Monday. 18% of respondents, however, disagreed with the statement. The poll was conducted December 21st through 22nd and interviewed 1,000 American adults. The lopsided results could catch some observers by surprise, considering the onslaught of lecturing Americans have received from the progressive left regarding gender identity issues in the U.S. over the past several years. It seems to me that if 75%, to be exact, still agree that there are only 2 genders, why are we bowing down to the 25% who thinks God made a mistake? Why do we have to bow to the minority in this respect? Why can't they not follow the guidelines of the 75% who believe that when we were created male and female? Progressive transgender ideology, which holds the male-female gender binary to be discriminatory, has leaked into nearly every facet of American life, sparking debate on issues ranging from gender pronouns to public restroom use as to whether or not hormone therapy and sex change surgery should be allowed for children. Social media giant Facebook allows users to select from a list of 58 gender identity options. Can you believe that? You could take a selection from 58 gender identity options. If you don't want to be called a him or a he or a her or a she, then go to the list and find out what it is that you want to be, maybe an it. Americans have debated the fairness of transgender athletes, biological males. A big controversy right now over the swimmer that's a male trying to be a female and is winning all the awards in swimming, but he's a man and pretending to be a woman. There's a lot of controversy over that right now. Competing in women's sports, as well as public figures such as comedian Dave Chappelle and Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, have been denounced for daring to scrutinize the absurdity of transgenderism. Yet despite all of that, the progressive push Majorities in every political category, including Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, agreed that there are only two genders. Nearly 50% of Democrats and 60% of Independents said they strongly agree with the statement. The general unison continued from there into the particularly hot-button issue of counseling school children about gender identity without parental consent. Now, this should not be happening. The Rasmussen survey found that a hefty 80% of Republicans, 54% of Democrats, and 72% of those unaffiliated with either party were opposed to schools counseling children on gender identity without informing their parents. Taken together, 68% of respondents said they were opposed to counseling without parental knowledge. 80% of the Republicans, there were those other 20%. And only 54% of Democrats opposed school counseling children on gender identity without informing parents. Yet we're, as American people, are still bowing and bending and praising the left in their ideology because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. It's time we stood up and take a bold step and say, hey, I don't go along with that. It's not biblical. It's not constitutional. It's not what we as man and woman believe in for our family. We're not going to take it anymore. Respondents were slightly less comfortable with how public the debate has become. When asked about Rowling's public comments supporting the gender binary, 58% sided with her, while 17% characterized her comments as a hate crime. The remaining 25% said they weren't sure. I mean, it's not very easy. I mean, it's not very hard. It's pretty easy to decide if he's a boy or he's a girl. I mean, I don't want to be rude and crude, but it's pretty easy to look, see how they were made. It doesn't take very long to know if he's got a boy tool or a girl tool. And there's no sense in making the observation that, well, God made a mistake. He really meant for my little boy to be a girl. God made a mistake. He really meant for my little girl to be a boy because that's what he says he feels like. Well, correct it, folks. Correct it. You're the adult. You're the mature one, hopefully. It's not what the little boy or little girl wants. They think they want. They're either a little boy or a little girl. I mean, that's where I stand, and I think most of you agree with that. I don't know. Maybe not. If you don't, let me know. Deputy Buton was with us earlier this morning, gave us a report from the Sheriff's Department. We recorded it for broadcast at this time.
In the past 24 hours, the Sheriff's Office has responded to 178 calls for service. There's currently 166 inmates in the jail. The jail has processed 9 arrests. For incident reports, Corey Wetterly reported the larceny of a firearm. A Glock 23 was stolen in that incident. John Kirkland reported a larceny of a firearm. It was a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 rifle. Bobby Craig also reported a larceny of a firearm, and that was a Springfield XDS 45 caliber. Derek Burns reported an obtained property of false pretense. Roy Long reported a financial card fraud. For arrest reports, Samantha Gail Bradley was served with an order for arrest for a failure to prevent a misdemeanor. Joseph Lee Pye was charged with possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and also had 2 OFAs for failure to appear on misdemeanors. Christy Preston was served with a warrant for communicating threats. Hannah Elaine Harris was served with an order for arrest for a failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Ronnie Dean Hawkins was served with 3 orders for arrest for failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Matthew Tyler Langley was served with a warrant for resist a public officer, possession of drug paraphernalia, and damage to real property. Heather Michelle Goforth was served with 2 orders for arrest for failure to appear on a misdemeanor. And Christy Peacock was served with an order for arrest for failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Cameron Alexander Elliott was served with 3 orders for arrest for failure to appear on felonies. Amber Leanne Rich was served a warrant for assault and battery. And Sharon Nicole Davis was served with a show cause for failure to pay fines. And that's all we've got.
Thank you, David Buton, for that report. It's 23 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. Sports news coming up, and that big news in the world of sports right now. We'll have that report for you coming up in just a few moments in the bottom of the hour, Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. Here's something to think about. Although some of the crowd on the left would like to think that it's a woman's choice to do what she wants to in abortion, and it's maybe be healthy for them. Here's one of the real reasons the left and the liberal crowd wants to accept abortion. An Ivy League law student admitted this week that men like him benefit when abortions are legal and easy to get because they can have commitment-free sex. Writing for Boston NPR affiliate WBUR, Kevian Shroff, 28, said abortion typically is viewed as a women's issue, but if men are honest, they will admit that it benefits them too. He's a former Hillary Clinton staffer and graduate of both Yale and Brown universities. Shroff said he wants to have children someday, but right now he's finishing law school, and it would be a terrible time to have a baby. At the same time, he does not want to give up his sex life, and that's what makes abortion so important to me. Those are the people getting elected or getting appointed to important positions in this administration, people like that who think, well, let's have free sex and kill all those babies and that way have abortion so we can just go ahead and continue with our sex life. That's the sad part of what's happening out there. Folks, I've enjoyed being with you this morning. Let's do this again tomorrow morning. I'll be back bright and early, about 6 o'clock, to start the morning wake-up call. Tell your friends and neighbors they're missing something. Keep listening. I might say something important someday. Sports is up next, right here on WCAB.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. The sporting world losing a legend, John Madden, dead yesterday at the age of 85. CBS News' Steve Futterman says Madden is known by many for his exuberant commenting style, as he was a sports television staple for 3 decades.
John Madden had a great career as a broadcaster, but before that, he was a very successful NFL coach. He even led the Oakland Raiders to a Super Bowl championship. Madden was a very young coach. He retired at a very young age in his early 40s. He essentially said he had burned out, and when he retired, he said he would never coach again, and he never did.
Madden went on to pioneer a popular football video game, and he was also the pioneer of the Telestrator, the drawings of the X's and O's on the TV screen, as he did the color on all the games that we watched all through the years. He also made turducken a household word during Thanksgiving Day broadcasts. The NFL confirmed his death yesterday, calling it unexpected, but they did not say how he died. A Holiday Bowl became the 5th postseason college football bowl canceled yesterday. UCLA was slated to go against NC State last night at Petco Park in San Diego, but the Bruins pulled out hours before kickoff because of COVID issues on the defensive side of the ball. The news stunned Wolfpack head coach Dave Doran.
I thought it was fake news, to be honest.
NC State athletic director Boo Corrigan was asked if they are going to think about finding a replacement and try and play a bowl game.
I think that's the hard part, right? It's trying to figure out who's available, who's still around. People have been canceled out of games.
Meanwhile, the Duke Mayo Bowl is still a go for tomorrow at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte between North Carolina and South Carolina. Kickoff scheduled for 11 a.m. The NFL is reducing the isolation time for players who tested positive for COVID and are asymptomatic, including unvaccinated players, from 5 days to 5 days from 10. This is NCN Sports.
You can't look at anything coming out of Washington and conclude that there's any common sense left in the place. Career politicians tell us there is no inflation. The Afghanistan withdrawal was a huge success. The parents who challenge radical school policies are domestic terrorists, and massive new spending and debt doesn't cost us anything. Washington career politicians want us to swallow their nonsense hook, line, and sinker. Well, let's restore common sense by sending Marjorie Eastman to the United States Senate. Marjorie Eastman is one of us, a mom, decorated military veteran, entrepreneur, and military spouse. Most importantly, Marjorie Eastman is not a career politician. Marjorie Eastman will apply common sense to governing, help cut spending, fight to restore a strong American military, and demand that government serves the people. Send Marjorie Eastman to Washington as our next U.S. Senator. Paid for by Restore Common Sense PAC, www.restorecommonsense.usa.com, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
The NHL returned to the ice yesterday after the league took a break, an extended holiday break, in the hopes that virus cases would not continue to disrupt the season. Andre Palat scored 36 seconds into overtime, and Tampa Bay teammate Corey Perry scored in the third period to tie the game, and the Lightning beat the Montreal Canadiens 5-4 in the first NHL game played following the extended break. In other action, the Vegas Golden Knights 6-3 winners over the LA Kings, and Thomas Hertl came out of COVID protocols and delivered twice for San Jose in their 8-7 shootout win over the Coyotes. Carolina Hurricanes return to action tomorrow. They are hosting the Montreal Canadiens. Meanwhile, the league announced that tomorrow's game between the Red Wings and Islanders has been postponed due to COVID-related issues between both teams. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Hello everyone and happy Wednesday. For the day ahead, we'll see the cloud cover slowly increase. It'll be another warm and breezy day with highs today in the mid to upper 70s. Stray showers pop up this evening, and those showers will continue to increase in coverage overnight tonight. Could hear some rumbles of thunder for Thursday morning. Thursday through the day, we'll see stray showers still in the forecast with highs in the low to mid 70s. Some of those rain showers move out Thursday night. We're drier on Friday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Keep your umbrella handy or your rain jacket handy throughout today for the next few days. As a matter of fact, the rain will be coming and going. Right now, our temperature reading 63 degrees, warming up to 71 for the daytime high, and the breeze is going to be kind of thick out there, gusting to about 20 miles per hour today. So keep that in mind as you're out and about enjoying life. It's 8:30. This is WCAB Rutherfordton, serving the foothills of the Carolinas. It's time now for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. And with the program this morning is Samuel and Alexis Santos.
Good morning, Rutherford County, and we want to say thank you to everyone that is taking the time to tune in this morning to listen to us. My name is Samuel, and I'm here with my wife, Alexis, and we always count it a joy and a pleasure to be here and just to be able to share with you what God is doing in our hearts and what He's speaking to us through His Word. And today we want to talk about coming to Jesus. And we want to talk about how precious it is for us to have a personal relationship with Him and how God is waiting. He's waiting to enter our hearts. He's waiting to enter into your heart and to have that personal relationship with Him. You know, as we're preparing to come, and even last night I was thinking about, you know, the verse that says the Spirit of God moves like the wind. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't know where the wind is coming from. You don't know where the wind is going. All you know is that you feel the effects of the wind, you know. And that's how I feel in my heart right now. I have so many things going on in my heart, and God is doing so many things in me. And I feel like the Spirit of God is moving, and I don't know where He's taking us. I don't know where He's taking me, but I feel the effects of the changes of the Holy Spirit in my heart right now. And, you know, and one thing that's so strong and so real to me is how important it is for us to receive Jesus. Yes. How important it is for us to open that door for Him to come in our hearts. And that's what we want to talk about today. Whether you're at your home, you're listening on your way to work, you can open the door for Jesus to come in today in your heart, and your heart will change. And I want to start with Matthew 11, and it's a very, very dear verse to both of our hearts. It speaks a lot to both of our hearts. And Jesus says, come to me. Come to Jesus. Make that decision right now, today. I will come to you, Jesus. I will open that door for you to come in, and I'll come to you, and I'll fellowship with you, and I'll let you have a special place in my heart right now, today, for the rest of my life. And He says, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden and are overburdened. Are you overburdened this morning? Is there something that's waiting on you this morning? Weighing on you? And it says, if there's anything that's bothering you, it says, if you come to Him, He will cause you to rest. And that's what we want. And that's the amazing thing about serving God. He's always there for you. He's looking and longing to be gracious to you. He will cause you to rest. And it keeps saying, I will ease and relieve and refresh your souls. That's God's heart. That's Jesus. That's why He sent Jesus to the earth to die for us so we could come to him, so he could refresh and relieve our souls. It says, take my yoke. As I was studying about this, I went in and looked at a definition of what a yoke is. And it's amazing because it says a yoke is a wooden bar or a frame by which two animals, such as an oxen, are joined together to work together. And then there's another definition that says it's a clamp or a similar piece that embraces two parts to hold or unite them in one position. And I was thinking about, God, why did you say, take my yoke and learn from me? That's Jesus saying, take my yoke, learn from me. That's what God wants for us. He wants us to be united with him. He wants us to have a personal relationship with him. Learn from him. Because it says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am gentle. God is gentle. He's meek. He's humble. In his heart, he's lowly. And you will find rest. And you find relief and refreshment and blessed quietness for your soul. So let's take God's yoke upon us today. Let's start learning from Jesus, learning from him, learning from his character, because that's what he wants for us. And then in verse 30 says, for my yoke is wholesome, useful, good, not harsh, not hard, not sharp or pressing, but is comfortable and gracious and pleasant. And my burden is light and easy to be borne. That is God's yoke for us. We don't have to hold anything on our own. We don't have to try to go through anything by ourselves, because God is right there. God is right there for us. He's right there. If we cry out, if we seek him, if we open the door for him to come in, he'll be right there for us. And then there's another verse that's very dear to me. It's Matthew 5 verse 6, and he's talking about, walking in the grace of God and living in the glory of God and having the true happiness that comes from experiencing God's grace, experiencing God's presence. That's the most important thing for all of us. That's why Jesus came and God created us to serve him, to have a personal relationship with Jesus. And he says, blessed and fortunate and happy and spiritually prosperous. Spiritually prosperous is in that state in which the born-again child of God enjoys his favor and salvation, are all of those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, uprightness, and right standing with God, for they shall be completely satisfied. Yes. There's nothing that can fill that void in your heart. There's nothing that can ease that yoke that you're carrying by yourself besides Jesus. We can look, we can search, we can look for this and try to get that to fill that void in your heart. It says, you shall be completely satisfied. Verse 8, blessed, happy, enviable, fortunate, and spiritually prosperous, possessing. And listen to this. This was amazing to me because it says, possessing the happiness produced by experiencing God's favor, and especially conditioned by the revelation of his grace. And I had an experience, and I have to share that because it was so important to me, and it's ministered so much to me. It's talking about experiencing God's favor and God's grace. And I was at a job, and I was actually on the bucket truck, and I was working on a sign with some electrical, and there was a switch. It's something really small. It might seem very small to you, but I experienced God's favor and God's grace, and I know God's hand was there to help me. And I was about 29, 30 feet up in the air, and I was working on that switch. And as I was working on that switch, that whole little box came apart. And I had maybe 10, 15 pieces right there sitting on my hand, and I didn't know how to put that back together. 15 parts, plastic parts, metal parts, springs, little screws, and I did not know how to put that together. And I was so aware of God's grace. I was so aware of God's favor. And I started talking to him right there by myself up there, 30 foot up in the air. And I said, Jesus, I know you can help me put this back together. I know you can help me put this switch back together. And I want to experience your grace, and I want to experience your favor right here, right now. Please help me. And, and as I kept working with that, and along the way, I asked Jesus, show me, where does this go? And where does that go? And how does this go in there? I'd never done that before. And I put everything back together. I connected all that electrical on that sign, and it was a big sign. It was a big pylon sign. And I connected everything, and I had one chance. One chance because we were running out of time. And I put that switch back together, and I plugged the power into it, and it worked. And that was God. I opened the door for him to teach me. I opened the door for him to come in and help me put that switch back together. And it says that happy, fortunate, and spiritually prosperous, possessing the happiness produced by experiencing God's favor. I was so happy. I was so grateful because I knew God himself, the God that created the whole universe, that has a hold of every single one of us, that has a hold of everything we need, that knows everything you need right now. He helped me put that switch back together. And so I experienced that happiness, the true happiness produced by experiencing God's grace and God's favor. And it is especially conditioned by the revelation of his grace. And right then, that's what I learned. I learned that God's grace was right there for me in that situation. And if God's grace was right there for me in a situation so small, which was put a switch back together, how much more in everything else in our lives, God's grace will be there for us. Everything else, everything that you're going through right now, if you ask him, if you open the door for him to come in and teach you and be your God, he will be there, and you will experience, like it says, he will reveal to you his grace, regardless of your outward conditions. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are in your walk with God. It does not matter. If you open the door for him, he will come in, and you will experience his grace. You will experience his favor. You will experience the true happiness that comes from serving him and loving him. And it keeps saying, regardless of your outward condition. And it says, are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And that's the truth. That is so much the truth. It doesn't matter if your situation is big or if your situation is small. If you come to God and if you cry out to have that personal relationship with him, he will come in and he will teach you and he will bring that true joy to your heart.
That's right. And one thing that we have seen as, we've been coming to Jesus, and so many times you hear people say, like, well, I want to serve Jesus, but maybe I won't be able to get to do what I want to do. But don't doubt. Right. Don't hold on to what you want to do, because all it does is bring torment. And Isaiah 59 verse 1 says, behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened at all, that it cannot save, nor his ear dull with deafness, that it cannot hear. So it's not God's fault that we are where we are in our walk with God. It says, verse 2, but your iniquities have made a separation between you and your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you, so that he will not hear. So it's those places in our lives where we want to do what we want to do. We want to go where we want to go or be with who we want to be with. And those are the sins that separate us from God. And 1 John 3:4 tells us what sin is. It's not just the things that we know for sure are sin, like drinking or smoking or adultery. That's sin too. But what else is sin? It says, everyone who practices sin is guilty of lawlessness. For that is what sin is, lawlessness, the breaking, violating of God's law by transgression or neglect, being unrestrained and unregulated by his commands and his will. So whatever we do in our lives where we're unrestrained, we're not regulated by God's voice, by God's will, that's what sin is. And that's what separates us from having that union with Jesus. Isaiah 65 verse 1 says, I was ready to be inquired of by those who asked not. This is God talking. I was ready to be found by those who sought me not. I said, here I am, says I am, to a nation Israel that has not called on my name. So God is ready. He's waiting for us to call upon him. He's waiting for us to seek him. God said, I have spread out my hands all the day long to a rebellious people who walk in a way that is not good after their own thoughts. So he called us a rebellious people if we walk after our own thoughts and our own desires. And it's so important that we get in our hearts, we cannot do what we want to do. We don't want to do what we want to do because it'll separate us from God. And in the end, our end will be death. It'll be hell. Hebrews 3 verse 7 says, therefore, as the Holy Spirit says, today, if you will hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, as happened in the rebellion of Israel, and their provocation and embitterment of me in the day of testing in the wilderness, where your fathers tried my patience and tested my forbearance, and found I stood their test, and they saw my works for 40 years. So here it's talking about the Israelites when they were going to the promised land, and they were in the wilderness, and they were there for 40 years. Because of their rebellion against God. It says, God said, I was provoked, I was displeased, and sorely grieved with that generation, and said, they always err and are led astray in their hearts, and they have not perceived or recognized my ways, and become progressively better and more experimentally and intimately acquainted with them. God was so grieved with them. He was saddened by their hearts where they would not seek God, where they would not have that personal relationship with Jesus to experience him, just like Samuel is talking about in your everyday life. And so God said he swore in his wrath and indignation, they shall not enter my rest. That's what God said because they chose the evil way. And that's what God is saying to us today. If we continue in the path that we want to go, and it's not God's path, he's saying, they shall not enter my rest. So it says, beware, brethren, take care, lest there be in any one of you a wicked, unbelieving heart, which refuses to cleave to, trust in, and rely on him, leading you to turn away and desert or stand aloof from the living God. So it's saying that beware, brethren, lest there be in any one of you, God calls it a wicked heart of unbelief, where we don't believe, where we doubt, if I give my heart to God, I won't be able to do this, or if I give my heart to God, I may not have this. It's a wicked heart of unbelief that we refuse to trust in him. But instead, warn, admonish, urge, and encourage one another every day. That's what we're supposed to be doing. As long as is it called today, that none of you may be hardened into settled rebellion by the deceitfulness of sin, by the fraudulence, the stratagem, the trickery, which the delusive glamour of his sin may play on him. God does not want us to have our hearts hardened against him. And so if you go on, it says in verse 18, and to whom did God swear that they should not enter his rest, but to those who disobeyed, who had not listened to his word, and refused to be compliant or be persuaded. We don't want that to be us, where we refuse to be persuaded to give our hearts to Jesus. And so we see that they were not able to enter his rest, because of their unwillingness to adhere to and trust in and rely on God. Unbelief had shut them out. Let that not be said of us, that our unbelief and our doubt caused us to be shut out from the promises of God.
Yes. And like Alexis was saying, it's so important for us to make that decision. It's so important for you today that is listening to make that decision to serve God. Yes. It's not God's fault. It says in Deuteronomy 28, if you will diligently listen and obey my voice, I will bless you. And if you don't, I will curse you. But God said, if you will, I will bless you. Yes. So God made a covenant with us. Mm-hmm. But we gotta make our part. We gotta do our part.
That's right.
You know, if we don't do our part, God can't do his part. So in Romans 8:14, it says, you know, it's talking about us allowing ourselves to be led by the Spirit of God, us doing our part. And it says, for all who are allowing themselves to be led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. And if you're a son of God, you can take up his yoke.
That's right.
That yoke that's light, that brings happiness, that brings the true joy. You know, and that's what I'm experiencing, you know. When you go to church, you know, so many times you go to church, you might go to church just because you have to go to church, because maybe your parents go to church. But when you sing or when you're praying, does that really mean something to you? Does the words of those songs, do they mean something to you? And it says, for all those who are allowing themselves to be led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. For you have not received a spirit of slavery leading again to fear, leading again to the fear of God's judgment, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, the Spirit producing sonship, by which we joyfully cry, Abba, Father.
Yes.
And that's the kind of relationship Jesus wants to have with us. If we open that door to him, he's our Father, he's our provider, he's our helper, he's right there for us. If we allow ourselves to be led and controlled by the Spirit of God. And that's what Alexis was saying. If we're not led and controlled by him, we're in sin. It might seem like a big, huge thing that to be led and controlled by the Spirit of God, but it's not. It's daily being saved. It's every moment of your day crying out for God's will, asking for help. Just like with that switch, asking for help. Jesus, I do not know how to do this. And that's one of our biggest mistakes, is think that we know how to do everything. Thinking that we know to do things that we've done for so many years. And we don't consider God to ask for help. He created everything. He created a universe. He's the one that's allowing you and me to breathe right now. He's the one that allowed both of us, Alexis and I, to get up here, to wake up this morning and sit right here and share with you. He was the one that allowed us. There's a verse in Lamentations that said, who is he who says, and it will come to pass unless the Lord authorizes? If God didn't authorize, if God didn't say yes, who do we think we are to make it happen? To try to make it happen, because we can't make it happen. But if we're allowing ourselves to be led by the spirits of God, then we're true sons and daughters of God.
And like he's saying, where we don't know anything, we don't know how to do anything unless God shows us. James 1 verse 5 says, if any of you is deficient in wisdom, all of us are deficient in wisdom without God. Let him ask of the giving God, who gives to everyone liberally and ungrudgingly, without reproaching or fault finding, and it will be given to him. That's God's promise to us, that if we ask of a God who gives, he doesn't hold back, he gives.
That's right.
Without reproach or fault finding, it will be given him. Only it must be in faith that he asks, with no wavering, no hesitating, no doubting.
That's right.
For the one who wavers, hesitates, and doubts is like the billowing surge out at sea that is blown hither and thither and tossed by the wind. So if you've ever been to the ocean and seen those waves, it's going this way and that way. But we must not be that way. We have to have no hesitating, no wavering, no doubting. Because God said if we waver, it says, truly, let not such a person imagine that he will receive anything he asks for from the Lord. So maybe you are crying out to Jesus. Maybe you are seeking God with all your heart. But if you have that doubt and waver, like, is God really going to hear me? Is this really going to work? It said, don't even imagine that you're going to receive from God.
That's right.
For being as he is, a man of two minds, hesitating, dubious, and irresolute, he is unstable and unreliable and uncertain about everything he thinks, feels, and decides. So when we're wavering, we're double-minded and we're unstable. We cannot have that stability in Jesus. But when you have that relationship with Jesus, where you let Jesus come into your heart, you believe that what he did on that cross to save you from sins, that he's forgiving you of your sins, and you change your ways and give your heart to Jesus, then you can have that faith to believe that he'll come in and he'll do what he wants to do in your heart.
That's right. And Zephaniah 2 says, so collect your thoughts. Collect your thoughts. Right now, that's the place that Alexis is talking about. Are you wavering? Are you like those waves that are being tossed hither and thither, and just going back and forth? And actually, if you read a little bit more about it, it talks about that they're tossed in an unorganized way. They're all over the place, and they don't know. You know what I mean? Are you like that? Zephaniah 2 says, so collect your thoughts. Yes, unbend yourselves in submission, and see if there is any sense of shame and no consciousness of sin left in you. For the time for repentance is speeding by like chaff, whirled before the wind. Therefore consider before God's decree brings forth a curse upon you, before the time to repent is gone like the drifting chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord comes upon you, yes, before the day of the wrath of the Lord comes upon you. Seek the Lord, inquire for him, inquire of him, and require him as the foremost necessity of your life. And that's what's so important. God is the most important thing. He's vital for us. And that's what we were learning. He's our source. He's everything we need. He's vital for us to live. And it says, all you humble of the land who have acted in compliance with his revealed will and have kept his commandments, seek righteousness, seek humility, inquire for them, require them as vital. It may be you will be hidden in the day of the Lord's anger. And that's what we want. We want to cry out to God. We want to seek God so we can experience his favor, so we can experience his glory, so we can come to him and he can satisfy that void that's in our hearts.
Yes. And in Isaiah 55, verse 1, God said, wait and listen, everyone who is thirsty, come to the waters, and he who has no money, come buy and eat. Yes, come buy priceless spiritual wine and milk without money and without price, simply for the self-surrender that accepts the blessing. And if you study about where it says come to the waters, Jesus is the living water. He is what sustains us. The Holy Spirit is that living water. And it says, why do you spend your money for that which is not bread, and your earnings for what does not satisfy? Why do we spend our time? Why do we spend our effort for something that's not going to satisfy? Jesus is the bread of life.
Yes.
Hearken diligent to me, God said, and eat what is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness, the profuseness or the abundance of spiritual joy. So come to the waters, come to Jesus, and he will be there for you.
And that leads us into a song that's very dear to us. It says, come to him. Come to him. And we're going to sing a song that talks about opening the door to God.
Yes, the Savior is waiting.
The Savior is waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting for you. He's waiting for you to come in and have fellowship with him. So make that decision today. Yes. As you listen to this, open that door to him and let him come in.
The Savior is waiting to enter your heart. Why don't you let him come in? There's nothing in this world to keep you apart. What is your answer to him? Come abide. Time after time, he has waited before, and now he's waiting again to see if you're willing to open the door. Oh, how he wants to come in. Time after time, he has waited before, and now he's waiting again to see if you're willing to open the door. Oh, how he wants to come in. Oh, how he wants to come in. Oh, how he wants to come in.
So in closing, in Revelations 3 verse 20, it talks about God standing at the door and knocking. And just like we sang, God has his arms wide open. The Savior is waiting to enter your heart. Why don't you let him come in? Revelations 3 says, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears and listens to and heeds my voice and opens the door, I will come into him, I will eat with him, and he will eat with me. He who overcomes the world through believing that Jesus is the Son of God, I will grant him the privilege to sit beside me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down beside my Father on his throne. The Savior is waiting to enter your heart. Open the door for him. Let him come in to have fellowship with you, and you fellowship with Jesus, and he will satisfy. He will fulfill your heart.
Yeah, so throughout your day today and at your day tomorrow, remember, he's waiting. He's right there. So open that door to him and fellowship with him and let him help you. We're so grateful that you tuned in and you were able to listen. And we hope this message brought you hope. And thank you so much. And you can go to our website. We're here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.